So today we are going to continue talking about statistics, and we are going to talk about how we display numerical data, so data points that are numbers, and we're going to be focusing on histograms, which we'll talk about in a moment. But before we do that, there are just some definitions to make sure we're okay with. So in statistics, the word distribution means whatever shape the data makes. So like the shape of this graph right here is called the distribution. We'll learn about the different shapes later. A cluster is when data is gathered around a value. So over here, the data is clustered over here. A gap is an interval or a period of the data where there's no data value. So right here is the gap. A peak is the highest point. So here's our peak. The difference, or the range, is the difference between the greatest and smallest value. So if we look here, the greatest value is 5, the smallest value is 0, so the range would be 5 minus 0. Here, 9 minus 3, 6. And the frequency is the number of times the data value occurs. So these are definitions you don't need to quite memorize yet, but you should be able to come back here for and get familiar with. So some important things to know about histograms. A histogram is a graph that looks like this right here. What you should see is we notice the bars are touching, and we're going to use those to display the data. A histogram has equal intervals. So when we look here, this is going from 0 to 19, which in between here, if you include 0, it would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. So there's 20 numbers in between here. And then here, from 20 to 39, there's technically 20 numbers there, including that 20. And then from 40 to 59, 60 to 79. So we look, these are equal intervals. It's the same amount here. And the bars are going to show the frequency, or how many data points are in that interval. By looking at this, we can see the shape of this data. We'll talk more about the shape later. And something that's really important to realize is that a histogram does not show individual data values. So what I mean by that is this histogram shows the minutes students spend on homework each day, and the number of minutes is down here. And so what this says is that there are 4 students who spend between 0 and 19 minutes on their homework, but we do not know how many minutes each individual spends. So this could be 0, 0, 0, 0, or it could be 0, 1, 14, 9, or it could be 19, 19, 19, 19. We don't know the individual data points. We just know that 4 of them are between 0 and 19. 6 of them are between 20 and 39. 12 of them are between 40 and 59. 6 of them between 60 and 79. So what we want to be able to do is look at a histogram like this one and answer questions. So what interval has the greatest frequency? So the greatest frequency means the most number of data points. So the interval that has that is between 40 and 59. So 40 and 59. How large is the range of each interval? So the range is the high minus the low. So when we look at this, the high is 19, the low is 0. So 19 minus 0 is 19. Or 39 minus 20 is 19. 59 minus 40, 19. So for each one of them, it is 19. How many students spend between 20 and 39 minutes on homework? So I go to 20 and 39 minutes, and we see that 6 students. how many students spend between 60 and 79 minutes on homework? So I look over here and we see that 6 students spend between 60 and 79. Our next one is how many students were surveyed. So there were 4 here. I'm just going to keep track of those here. So there was 4, plus there are 6 more here, plus there are 12 here. So far we're at 4 plus 6 is 10, plus 12 is 22, and then we have plus 6 more. So that will give us 28 students. So 28 students total. Okay, true or false? From the histogram, you can determine how many students spent 45 minutes doing homework. So can we tell how many students spent 45 minutes? No, because we cannot, because all we know is that 12 students spent between 40 and 59 minutes in doing their homework. But we don't know if anyone at all spent exactly 45 minutes. So I'm going to put false. Okay, and then true or false. From this histogram, you can determine how many students spent 40 or more minutes doing homework. So if they spend 40 or more, it could have been that they were between 40 and 59, which is 12 students, or between 60 and 79, which is 6. So 18 students spent 40 or more. We are able to tell. So we will put true right here. So what you are going to do, similar to last class, is you're going to finish filling in these Google Slides over here. You're going to answer these questions, and then you're going to try answering these ones. With this one here, you're just going to move this to whatever you think the answer is. So you'll move the circle to whatever you think the answer is. Okay, if you have any questions at all, make sure that you come by for Zoom office hours. Okay, thank you.